Hello my lovelies, Robbie here at Kickback Garage. I've got half an hour left of the sun. I've just got back home from work. Let's run this puppy in. Let's talk a bit about jetting and how I run in a newly built Nickersil cylinder. I'll go grab a coffee and I'll see you out on the road. Pop, 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 pop. Pop, pop. Right, before I start her up, oh, she needs a bloody good clean. Before I start her up, I have to say that I have sorted out the tick over issue I had, where the revs didn't go down as quick as I want. I just had some shit in my pilot jet, that's it. So I took that out, blew it out, see if it'll start. I haven't started it since the last video. Oh, first kick. I find them, I'm shouting, I'll try not to. I find them really easy to start generally. Take off the choke. Let it clear up a little bit. Right, I've got about 25 minutes to ride, and that should be enough. Oh, she's a bit smoky. I actually think she's running a little bit rich now. Which yeah, we'll see. I'm not even taking my jets with me. I'm pretty sure she'll be a little bit rich. Right, before I do anything, I have to get this engine warmed up a little bit. And it's early days here, so they haven't swept up the gravel yet. I'm at 43 degrees, the engine temp. So I'm just going to take it nice and easy. Up through the revs slightly. Just to get the engine warmed up a little bit. I need at least like 90 degrees before I start riding properly. Does anybody else do that? I just put down my visor, and yes, I definitely should clean that. I almost can't see a thing, which would be nice because we're soon be facing into the sun. 62 degrees. It feels a little bit smoother in the mid range here, so it's definitely warming up a little bit. Right, so when I run in a Nickersil barrel, I don't do any of that. 500 kilometers, 300 miles doing something or other rev range. I actually think that is a bad thing to do. And the reason why I think that is because my philosophy is, once I've warmed it up now, let's give it like 10-15 minutes. I want to take it on a twisty, hilly road. So what I'm going to do is actually turn around here and go back onto the hilly twisties. There's probably a lot of... oh shit, there's a car behind me. There's a lot of gravel here. And probably a lot of gravel where I'm going. Got 99 degrees, so there you go. And I can feel the response already. It's good. So let me talk a little bit about the jetting before I tell you why I run it in how I do. So I did go up on the needle. I have fit a X13X. It's one of the MB needles. It's X13-2, so it's slightly, it's somewhere in between an X13 and a 2. So it's quite a rich needle, even though I fit that filter, because my jetting tends to come down a little bit during the summer. We're only, it's nice and sunny here, but it's only 5 degrees Celsius, and that does make them run a little bit leaner. So when the temperature starts to rise around these plots, up 20 degrees plus, then I may need to come down on the needle. I also ordered from Scooter Centre and fit a 128 main jet, which is what I thought I did have in already. Now, what's coming our way now? Is that an old one, or is it a young lad on a moped? It's a young lad on a moped, tuned moped. I think it was a 125. Right. Let's hope I don't run out of light, but we might get some beautifully stunning scenery. So what I do when I run it in, I basically do exactly what I do when I ride around normally. But my choice of road is not random, because I think if you're a little bit unsure about your jets, which I'm not really, but I would be if this was a brand new build and never run it before, then it's a good idea to be going through the whole rev range and not sort of sitting in one particular gear in one particular rev range. Because if you're really unlucky, and let's say your pilot jet or your slide is a bit weak and you put around 3/4 throttle, then you're going to seize it, because at the start everything is a little bit tight, so you've got to bed in the rings, bed in the piston. And actually I don't mind actually giving it a bit of a waz, getting it up through the revs now and then. Just work it through the gearbox, change gear often, don't let it do that labour itself, and you will be hunky-dory. So I can rev it through, rev it up. Don't mind doing that. But I like to vary the revs a little bit. And once I've ridden like that for about 25 minutes, which is what I'm going to do now, I call it run in. And then I just run it in as usual. When it comes to jetting, we don't have dynos, two-stroke dynos here in Norway. So I'm shouting again. We don't have don't do that, Rob. I'm just exact opposite of what I said do. I sort of forget that it's a new build. It's really smooth, by the way. And the response is quick. Pretty. Even with the reason why I'm a bit surprised is I put the filter on. I was expecting it to be a bit of a slug, but no, it's nice pull. So the reason why I blipped the throttle on the downhills is because just to give it a bit of a chug of nice cold petrol and some two-stroke oil. And when you're going downhill, it's actually better to give it some gas, and if you can't do that, failing that, give it a bit of rev like that, pull in the clutch, give it a bit of rev, and you're off again. That's sort of my riding philosophy all the way, especially when I'm on a long trip too. Temperature now is 105. The running temperature on this, when I'm sort of giving it full whack on fast P roads, it's around about 140. Ooh, why is it wet? Why is the road wet here? But one thing I'd like to say is there's not that much gravel on the road. I think they've actually swept it, which is great stuff. Gives me a little. Oh well, I say until I say that a little bit too early. There's loads of gravel here. Yeah. So what I was going to tell you is a little bit about how because we haven't got a dyno, I see the first thing that people say in the UK, if you wonder about jetting, is get it done on your dyno, your local dyno. But we haven't got a local dyno. that's specialised in two-stroke. I have got a dyno guy. that will dyno my bikes if I want to, and I really do want to dyno the Sledgehammer, and I bought a new exhaust for the RT, so there's something to look forward to. And I would really like to have those on the dyno, but you can't see the ambient. What's it called when you check the jetting and stuff like that? They can't do that, so that I have to do myself by feel. The main jet is probably the easiest jet. Let's just sort out how I set up a carb. Might be interesting, but look at the view. This I have, sir, missed dearly. Oh my god. People say I'm really lucky to live in this area. I actually, if I think about that, I actually beg to differ, because I chose to live here. I chose to move from the UK to Norway, and I chose to move to this particular spot. And that is because I like the nature, I like cycling, I like my motorbikes, and it accommodates all that, hikes and stuff like that. Check it out. Woo-hoo-hoo. And even though it's not that warm, I'm not that cold actually. Right, so when I set up a carb, try and concentrate. When I set up a carb, I always start with a pilot jet. So start your machine, let it tick over, let it get nice and warm, give it at least 10, even 15 minutes if your neighbours will let you. And what I do is I blip the throttle like I did on the last video. And what I want to happen is I want the revs to fall almost immediately. There's a couple of ways you can skin a cat. If you, like me, have a 55 pilot jet, to get it to tick over nice and clean, but to go down in the revs as fast as I like, I had to screw out the rich screw. What's it called? Rich screw. It's not an air screw on a Deloto. When you screw it out, you actually make it richer. So I had to screw that out 2 turns. Normally you start at 1.5, and then I just gave it another half a turn, and then I got this effect. Got more cars behind me. Right, let's have a look. So I'm on tick over, and if I rev the engine, can you hear that? It goes straight down immediately back down to tick over again. That's how I like it. Can you hear it? That means that it's getting the cooling that it needs, and that means it might even mean it's running slightly rich. I slipped on the gravel there when I pulled. So that's what I do first. So once I've sorted out the pilot, and it's actually not a bad thing if you can really. If I was clever now, I would actually fit a 58 pilot jet. This is a 240, mind, a June 240, and I've also moved the port timing slightly on this to accommodate the new exhaust. I'll tell you all about that in a episode that's coming up. So what I think I'm going to do when I get home is fit a 58 pilot, and then just probably be able to get away with fitting a 58, and then just 1 turn out, or maybe the 1.5 turns out on the mixer screw. And the reason why I like to have slightly rich pilot jet is that when you close your throttle, you know you're getting plenty. That's basically because on 2 strokes, if it's really hot, the engine, shit man, I can't remember it pulling this well. It's doing really well. My goodness, does it just loosen up or something after I've halfway run it in? Anyway, so I start with that, and it's nice to have a big fat pilot. And I see the pilot jet on the sledgehammer, which will come sometime, maybe. Look at this view, beautiful, eh? With the sunset. The pilot jet on that is a 61 or a 62, so it's quite a tall pilot jet on the sledgehammer. Pulls really well. The thing is, I short shift it a little bit. I am running in. It's not slouching about, man. They're normally quite tight when they're brand new top ends. It feels great. Wow. Feels really responsive. Nice. Oh, and I notice, you probably can't see it in the camera, I noticed that my handlebar is slightly askew with. It's turning slightly, if I put it straight, slightly to the right. Can you see that? The funny thing is, it did that last year as well on my first ride, but you can still get used to it. Yeah, I'm going to have to sort that out when I get back as well. Back to jetting, I am running a AV266. If you haven't got a reed RT, then you can probably run or get away with a 264. Like I said, I have actually gone up on the needle. I am running X13 X2 from MB, but I don't feel any need really to change that, because the mid-range is crisp, or if not, maybe even crisper than it was last year. Response is really quick. Did you see that? Okay, check it out. Just pull the throttle. Third gear. It's instant response. I love that. So when it comes to wow, amazing. Temperature's not going haywire, just sitting around 106. And when I talk about temperatures, they're not directly transferable to your scooter. I've ridden this so many miles, I sort of just know where it sits and it feels happy. And the reason why I got the temperature gauge on really is not really for the temperature itself, but if I get like sudden change in temperatures, then I know something is up, lad. You know what I mean? And actually, on a rally we went to 3 years ago, I had a spike in the temperature. I jetted up my main jet and my needle, because it felt like suddenly it was like I got a really spike in temperature, and it felt really weak. It's really taken off without hardly any throttle whatsoever. So I jetted it really rich, and I drove it home, and I discovered I had a big crack in the downpipe on my exhaust. So the temperature gauge is there sort of as a precaution, and a precautionary tale it is. It's a precaution. What I notice is I'm actually slipping a little bit on my back wheel, and I don't think it's the gravel. I think it's the fact that I've got brand new tyres on, haven't I? And they're not properly scrubbed in. It's funny when you've not ridden a scooter for a while. How wobbly are they? They just feel so damn wobbly. It's really funny. So that is, ladies and gentlemen, that is how I... What? I was going to stop here. Am I not allowed to stop here anymore? Oh, it feels great, man. It feels fantastic. Oh, it's so easy to get... It's going to be so easy to get carried away, to be honest. Wow. Right, let's go find a nice place to park up with the view of the sunset, shall we? I actually think I rolled past it. I was a little bit late to show you the sunset going down over the fjord. But yeah, I did try, but I did get out, and that's the important bit. So I will love you and leave you. I hope you got some useful information out of my babble. I will love you and leave you. But I was really surprised when I started her up this the other day at how deep that engine sounds. Bum, 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 bum. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's really, really dirty, so I need to give her a clean. But yeah, beautiful Touring in the sunset. Everything seems to be working fine. So I've got one scooter up and running, and the next time you'll see this scooter will be on a clocker run, which is the 30th of March, when the clocks go back or forth, one or the other. But that is our first official start and finish to the season. I will love you and leave you. Don't forget, if you like this kind of stuff, do give me the old thumbs up, do the old subscribe, and I will definitely see you all, hopefully, in the next one. Ta-ra!
12 seconds later.